Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to break down a strategy that could totally change how you send proposals, quotes, or contracts. It all boils down to one simple idea: making complicated stuff so clear that you close deals way faster. Let's kick things off with a single number, and it's a pretty staggering one. A survey from Deloitte found that 91% of us, yeah, you and me, accept legal terms and conditions without ever reading them. Just think about that. 9 out of 10 people just click agree and kind of hope for the best. And guess what? What's true for your app's terms of service is often true for your business proposals. And here is exactly why. The language just feels overwhelming, right? It's long-winded, it's complex. So what do you think happens when your potential customers get a proposal that's packed with jargon and dense text? Well, it's the same thing. They tune out, they get confused, or even worse, they get suspicious. This leads us to a really critical question. Could that 20-page document you spent weeks perfecting, the one you're so proud of, could it actually be the biggest roadblock in your sales process? We're going to explore how that wall of text might be slowing down or maybe even killing your deals. All right, let's dive into the first part and really break down this problem. We're calling it the unread fine print, that wall of text we all know and the anxiety it creates for our customers. So when a customer sees a document they can't make heads or tails of, it kicks off this whole chain reaction. First comes the confusion. That confusion quickly turns into distrust. They see a long list of fees and start thinking, wait a minute, am I being tricked here? This can lead to sticker shock, it can stall negotiations for weeks while they send it off to their lawyers, and it just creates this endless back and forth of questions. Basically, the whole sales process just grinds to a halt. So, okay, if the wall of text is the villain of the story, what's the solution? Well, let's look at this concept we're calling clarity as a service. And it's all about turning that moment of friction into a moment of confidence for your customer. This really gets right to the heart of it. It's a simple idea, but it's a profound shift in thinking. Stop sending documents that need a decoder ring and start sending clear, visual stories that your customers can understand at a glance. Now, the power of visuals, it goes way beyond just making something look pretty. There's some fascinating science here. Did you know our brains process images something like 60,000 times faster than text? It's wild. So when you create a visual summary, it forces you to use plain English, and your customer gets it instantly. That transparency builds trust because it shows you've got nothing to hide. It lowers their anxiety, helps them see the value faster, and, this is a big one, it makes it super easy for your main contact to sell the idea to their boss. Okay, so that's the theory. But how does this actually work in the real world? Let's walk through 4 really powerful examples from totally different industries. First up, let's imagine a company that makes custom products, like printed t-shirts or special packaging. Their quotes are usually just this long, confusing list of technical line items. And here's the transformation. The customer has no idea what a digitizing fee is, right? So they naturally assume it's just you padding the bill. But when you show them an infographic of that t-shirt with little call-outs explaining each step, the screen setup, the digitizing, they suddenly see the craftsmanship. The haggling just stops, because now they actually get what they're paying for. All right, next, let's jump over to a commercial real estate broker. Their most important document is the lease agreement, which, as we all know, can be one of the most intimidating things a business owner ever has to sign. So here's what happens. A potential tenant gets that 20-page lease, and their first instinct is, I gotta send this to my lawyer. Boom, the deal stalls for weeks. But what if, along with that lease, they got a 1-page deal map, a visual guide with a color-coded floor plan and simple icons showing what the landlord pays for versus what the tenant pays for? It replaces fear with clarity. The tenant gets it immediately and is ready to move forward. Now let's move into the world of insurance. This is a place where agents are always struggling to sell really good comprehensive coverage when there's a cheaper, bare-bones option sitting right next to it. Customers naturally focus on that monthly premium, and they often just pick the cheapest policy. But what if you used a shield diagram? Suddenly, the abstract idea of risk becomes something you can see. They can literally see the protective shields their policy gives them, and, more importantly, the big red danger zones where they're still exposed. This completely reframes the conversation from price to protection. And for our last example, let's think about a contractor who's quoting a high-end home renovation, a situation that is absolutely prime for some serious sticker shock. So a homeowner sees a $50,000 quote for a bathroom, and their jaw hits the floor. Why? because they're only picturing the pretty new tiles in the sink. But a layered house diagram can peel back the walls. It shows the new plumbing, the waterproof membrane, the upgraded electrical, all the critical invisible work. This visual turns that sticker shock into informed consent, and man, does it build a ton of trust. Those are some pretty powerful examples, right? But you're probably asking yourself, okay, but is this actually for my business? So let's run through a quick cheat sheet to help you figure that out. First, if your product or service is customized, if it's not a one-size-fits-all kind of thing, you are a prime candidate. Second, if you find yourself constantly having to explain the same technical stuff to every new client, you're dealing with what we call education friction. Third, if your customers are making a high-stakes decision, their anxiety is going to be through the roof. And finally, if your real value is hard for people to see, you've got a black box problem. Let's just focus on this black box idea for a second, because it is so incredibly common. If your real value is your process or your expertise or the work that happens behind the scenes, you have got to find a way to make that visible. A visual explainer literally opens up that black box. It shows the customer how the magic happens and builds the confidence they need to say yes. This brings us to our final and maybe the most important point of all. To really make this strategy work for you, there's a huge mindset shift that has to happen. Remember this, you are not selling a creative service or a pretty picture. You are selling a business outcome. You're not a graphic designer here. You're a sales accelerator. The infographic is just the tool. The real prize is getting to yes faster, with less haggling, and creating customers who feel genuinely confident. When you frame it that way, the value is just undeniable. So I'll leave you with this question. Take a really hard look at your own sales process. Can you pinpoint that one dense proposal, that confusing quote, or that intimidating contract that always seems to cause problems? That's your opportunity. What wall of text in your business is just waiting to be turned into a visual story that helps you and your customer get to yes faster?